We've seen many times incidents of dogs scaring off much bigger, deadlier animals. This includes sometimes apex predators, such as alligators and bears. There's been quite a number of UFO and alien encounters documented over the decades. However, very few involve cases where man's best friend scares off extraterrestrials. In regards to animals and aliens in general, though, we often see the opposite. It doesn't appear these beings fear anything on this planet, as there's been multiple cases of things like cattle mutilations and animals being reported on crafts by abductees. In today's episode, we will examine a case in a small rural town just outside Fredericksburg, Virginia, in 1971. It was dubbed by UFO investigators on the case as the Virginia Giant due to the size of the being. As we will see, in this case, a dog may have saved the life of a boy. In May 1971, in a small farming community just outside Fredericksburg, Virginia, 3 young boys, along with their German Shepherd, decided to go camping. After some time, the boys decided to set up camp out in an open field. As the boys settled in and night came about, the boys heard the sound of a car horn in the distance. The 3 ran over to the edge of the forest, and it was decided 2 of the boys should go investigate further. One of the boys and his German Shepherd, ironically named Lucky, would stay behind. As the boy and Lucky began walking back to the campsite, the boy reported feeling a strange feeling like something was following him. Each time, though, he turned around, he saw nothing. Then, finally, he turned again and saw what he described as a glowing white thing over a pond in the field. The craft slowly moved over the pond and towards the boy, stopping nearby. It would then descend slowly to the ground, and legs would extend from its underside. As the object landed, a door opened, and the boy stated a gigantic man walked out. According to the witness, the being was powerfully huge, had long arms, and was shiny. In one hand, the creature carried a glowing box. The creature looked around and began walking in the boy's direction. The frightened boy attempted to hide in the tall grass. Lucky, his German Shepherd, wasn't afraid though. In fact, Lucky was angry. The dog growled at the being as it approached, and according to the boy, the being turned around and bounced back to his craft. The door then closed, and the craft took off about 10 minutes later. The boy's friend found him in shock. A few minutes later, still crouched in the grass. The witness told his friends the story, and all 3 ran home. Another UFO sighting would occur 2 days later in the area. This event would add validity to the boys' report, since multiple witnesses spotted the craft, and it was described in a similar way. However, as we will discuss later, the relationship of these witnesses to the original witness does raise suspicion. On the night the second event occurred, 2 young women were coming home from a night class. It should be noted that these young women were the older sisters of the boy who reported the craft 2 nights earlier. As the sisters drove down the family's long, winding gravel driveway, they heard a strange humming sound, and then suddenly red lights appeared from above their car. Then, the car's engine stalled, the headlights went out, and the car radio shut off. The girls said they saw a dish-shaped, glowing white object hovering around 50 feet above them. As they watched the craft hover, the frightened girls made multiple attempts to start the car. Finally, after around 5 minutes, the car started and the girls sped down the driveway to their home. As they did, the craft followed them. Inside the house, two of the brothers would hear the screeching car and run outside. As they did, they saw the massive saucer following their sister's car up the driveway. Once the girls reached the house, everyone went inside, and the craft hovered over the home for a few minutes before finally slowly gliding away. There's quite a bit to unpack from this case. However, we must point out first, this family wanted to remain private and not be known publicly. That's why no names were used in this story. But did these events actually occur? It seems odd that a family would go through the effort of falsely reporting this event if they didn't seek to gain something like fame or money. It could be the case that the family believed they could profit initially, but when the investigators informed them of potential earnings, they decided to remain anonymous. It could also be the case the kids made up the story. One thing that seems odd about the event is that this is the only family that spotted the UFO and saw it. It should be noted that this was in a rural community, and one family alone can own hundreds of acres. One area that must be explored concerns Lucky, the German Shepherd, and the behavior of the alien. There's many cases of abductees reporting seeing animals from Earth in spacecraft. There's also reports of animals being abducted right in front of people. Other events like cattle mutilations seem to indicate extraterrestrials don't seem to fear animals. Still, it could be the case the alien that was approaching wasn't scared actually of the dog, but saw how frightened the boy was and decided not to move forward with whatever it was planning. It could also be the case that the being didn't want to attract attention, or perhaps the entity was scared of disease from the animal. Skeptics will also point out that all witnesses were related. They could have all gone in on a fake story together. Still, it's tough to imagine that 5 siblings would be able to fool a team of UFO investigators. In addition, one of the researchers called the case one of the most fascinating he had ever investigated. With so many UFO reports and sightings all over the world, we often forget that many go unreported. While this can be for many reasons, sometimes, contrary to skeptics' opinions, people prefer to remain out of the limelight due to their experience. This raises all sorts of questions surrounding what the estimated encounters and estimated alien abductions might truly be. While remaining private is completely understandable, it should be noted this often makes investigating a case much more difficult when the family prefers to avoid publicity altogether. This can be for a variety of reasons, such as refusal to discuss details of their experiences, except with primary investigators, and other things. Overall, this case is an interesting one, and one of the few where it appears a dog might have saved a boy's life.